Hello, I'm John, the executive producer here at Final Show Films. I got a few notes for you before the show. First, I want to thank you all for watching. We couldn't do what we do or the amount of things that we do without the support of you, the viewer. If you want to support us financially, which we always appreciate, you can go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms, where you can donate as little as $1 a month to help us continue this and all the things that we do. I want to give a special shout out to our $25 supporters Antitonic, Waterflame, and Samantha Bates. Second, I want to let you all know that we here at Final Show Films are planning a little get-together up at Gen Con this year. That's August 2nd through 5th up at Indianapolis. We're going to be up there just sort of hanging out, enjoying the con, spending time together, and if any of you guys want to come up and say hi, please feel free. We don't bite unless you want us to. And if you enjoy whatever it is you're about to watch or listen to, be sure to check out our website at finalshowfilms.com, where you can find links to all of our other content, both podcast and video. And be sure to follow me at John A. Bates on Twitter for more updates on all of the content we're creating in the future. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Are live.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back after our little hiatus to Werewolf the Apocalypse, West Rising. I am your storyteller for the evening, Michelle, and let me introduce our players if you haven't met them already. This week, let's start with William. Why not?
Hi, I'm William, and I'm playing C, the Uctana Philodox.
And Craig.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm playing Grudek, the Bonar Galliard.
And Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm playing Thistle, the Children of Gaia Theurge. I still hate conjugating that.
And John.
I'm John, and I'm playing Shadow, the God of Fenris Arun.
And Jack.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and I'm playing Tag Conley, the Fianna Ragabash.
All right. And when last we left our 5 assorted heroes, they were in the process of kind of trying to investigate the sept a little bit and see if they can get an idea who might be the one who has betrayed the sept to the Black Spiral Dancers. So they've been getting to know people and finding out some fairly interesting things. And the very last thing that happened when we left was that Shadow, with his extra super sensitive wolfy hearing, overheard Sharon Morningcloud, the sept's keeper of the land, inside her tent, just sobbing her guts out. And it is currently, I believe, mid-morning on Saturday. Correct me if I'm wrong about that.
Nope, you're right.
That's right.
Yeah. So most everybody has finished up their breakfast, and you can take it from there.
So, transferring that information back to everyone else through the telepathic bond, I immediately move over to the tent and poke my head in. I'm still in wolf form to see what's going on, because someone's crying, and that might mean they're in danger.
Okay. John, I'm going to have you roll.
Sure.
I'm trying to figure out, like, what you roll here.
Empathy, maybe?
Yeah, it's going to be something in empathy. Let's do charisma and empathy. And it's going to be difficulty 8.
Do I get any bonuses for being a big, cute, furry wolf right now?
See, your size is one of the reasons for the difficulty. It's like having that thing from Ragnarok suddenly poke its head inside your tent, you know?
Yes, Fenris.
That's
Best
Fenris!
Yes.
Hello.
Fenris is so cute.
so
It's
cute and
also
so
appropriate.
huge.
All right, charisma, empathy.
Difficulty 8.
Oh, that's gonna be with a -1. I have no dots in empathy, so that's gonna be fun. Also, it's a social roll, isn't it? Hang
It
on.
is.
I think I have particular issues with social rolls.
You don't take a -1 because it's in the talents category. You take a -1 if it's in the skills category.
Okay.
I just went if it's. Oh right, okay.
Oh no, that's just to detect a person's ill intent. Sorry, I'm looking at my naive flaw.
Naive and gullible isn't going to hurt you here at all.
Okay. Charisma und Empathie. Where are my genera rolls? There they are. Charisma, empathy, difficulty 8. Let's see how this gets ruined. Oh! 3 successes.
Wow. Well, that was unexpected.
Just a big fuzzy dog.
Yeah. So, perhaps because she's used to dealing with people of the canine persuasion, given her mentor being March Lion and all, she does not freak out when she sees you, which is about the best you can possibly expect from Morning Cloud, who is not friendly at the best of moments,
Okay.
and you've literally poked your head into her personal space. So, she, instead of screaming and alerting the entire sept, she just turns and practically holds her breath to stop herself from crying and just glares at you like, what the fuck are you doing in here? And she has a piece of paper half crumpled in one hand because she was startled enough by your appearance that her hand sort of clenched involuntarily and crumpled the paper she was holding, and she just stares at you.
I just sort of tilt my head, doing the inquisitive dog look, as sort of like looking at her, trying my best for all the world to appear as if I am checking in to see if everything's okay.
How close are the rest of us?
I think you're fairly nearby because weren't you all kind of at breakfast and eating things? And and
Yeah,
the
pretty much.
sleeping area is pretty close to the eating area, so you could walk over there in, like a minute or two easily.
Okay.
Even at a leisurely stroll. And if you sprinted, you could get there pretty much right away. So she kind of looks at Shadow for a minute, and this is kind of where his charisma and empathy kicks in, and she can see that, he doesn't really mean any harm, and her hand relaxes that was squishing the paper, and she just kind of shakes her head and says, I'm fine, and kind of makes a shooing gesture. She says, I'm fine, I'll be quieter.
To get an accurate idea of how the tents are, is this just like cloth stitched together and pulled over a frame with no floor? Is it a full pop-up tent?
This is like a kind of like a single person's just basic camping tent. It's it's not like a real, primitive woodsman kind of setup. It's just like the kind of thing you'd, buy pretty cheap and take on a camping trip if it's going to sleep only you. Hers is. Other people have different arrangements, but hers is just like.
I guess the clarification there is the floor covered with a tarp or is it dirt?
It's not dirt. The whole thing is like
so it's a pop-up.
Yeah.
Just sort of still looking at her with the head tilted. Just snort. And start backing up. And just still watching her as I back up. Reach and sort of lean my head out, grab like a stick or something that's nearby, put my head back in and drop it. Just sort of like the if you need help kind of thing. That's the best you can really communicate in Wolf as in this form. Nudge it towards her and then back out and leave.
So cute. What are the rest of you doing? How much did you transmit to them in your?
Rough overlay, like person's crying. Person's crying. I went and checked. They had a paper that apparently caused this reaction. They said
Tag would
they're
immediately
fine.
start
See,
wandering
I-
over.
Yeah, I
This-
think Rudek is like sprinting.
Through the telepathic. See, I sort of wasn't sure how relevant it was until I had more details, but I kind of mentioned earlier that sudden mind changing on the, I believe, becoming the keeper of the land. It was Michelle.
She's currently keeper of the land and
Oh.
has been. Apparently, the story was that Marsh Lion had been pressuring her to train to become Right
Okay.
Master, and she has suddenly, as of this morning,
Yeah.
decided to do that.
Yeah. Apparently, suddenly out of nowhere, accepted the whole potentially becoming Right Master thing.
What
But-
do I... Go ahead.
Yeah, all I got was gossip, so I didn't want to assume.
And
Well,
I
that-
will over the telepathic bond. I will. She wishes to be left alone.
Yeah. No offense, Shadow, but no duh. That is usually why one cries alone.
And while you guys are discussing this, she actually emerges from the tent and makes. She's almost deliberately avoiding you guys and making a beeline for March Lion, where he's, at the Redwood Circle where he usually hangs out. She's kind of making a beeline there, and she's projecting a very strong vibe of do not talk to me, do not interrupt me, do not bother me right now. All of you do a perception and alertness difficulty 6.
Cool.
Sure. What do I know about her dietary preferences? Does she drink coffee? Does she like hot chocolate?
She tends to eat like really simple, natural kind of foods, like not entirely vegan, but close to it. She'll eat meat like once a month. The rest of the time, it's just fresh
I have
veggies. And
I have a botch.
Is this a
Oh!
Is this a? Two
Difficulty
questions.
what? Sorry.
6.
Two questions. One, do keen senses apply to this role? And two, I am in wolf form. I am in beast form. So does my -2 to perception checks difficulty still apply?
This is not so much a beastly perception thing and more of a human perception thing. So it's probably just regular
Okay.
roll for you, because it's
And-
not like a keen senses thing. It's like, are you remembering details? Kind, you
Okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
was
that's why I
it
wanted
was
to
it
ask.
perception and alertness?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if my
just got
keen
one.
senses don't apply, then my smell probably doesn't. So, 2 successes.
Okay. So, I'm trying to think. what
He's
a-
in his own head right now.
Yeah. See, you actually get distracted by something, and like whatever it
Completely lose my
is that
train
would
of thought.
distract him, and yeah, whatever it is that would distract him enough that he actually starts to wander off a little bit.
Like he sees motion out the corner of his eye, and just for a second swears he saw like black feathers for a second, and like immediately is like,
Oh right, yeah, okay. So he's like having
having.
ancestor hallucinations now from expecting so much to see him. Yeah, so like C kind of wanders off to see if his ancestor is speaking to him, while
Oh boy.
let's see, which of you got the most successes here? Shadow, you got 2. Okay,
Yeah, I got one, and I think we're the only ones with positive results.
okay. Shadow's the best person to notice
didn't
this anyway.
watch.
As she's making a beeline to March Lion, she has nothing. She is carrying nothing. She does not have the paper with her.
I would like to sort of just casual, stealthily stroll back into her tent then and see if I can't see what that paper was.
Okay, dexterity, stealth, difficulty 8, since it's broad daylight and everybody is kind of like in the same general area right now.
Yeah.
Can I give him a boost by coming up to her with the cup of tea that I'm carrying?
She's not going to notice because she's already
Okay.
beelining away.
It's not
everybody
her
else
that-
that might be like, "Why are you going in there?"
Okay,
Yeah.
fair
I'll
enough.
check to see if
She has
anybody-
like her own private tent that is her tent.
Yeah, and everybody
specifically,
knows
right? Yeah.
which one is hers, and everybody's kind of nearby. So
You said.
and it
You said
mid-
difficulty 8.
Yeah.
All right.
just
Does
see if anybody notices what you're doing.
would my lightning reflexes apply to this?
Yeah,
Hey.
they would, in fact,
All right.
because you got to pick just the right moment and just dash in there.
Blam. 2 successes.
Okay. So nobody sees you going into the tent. And the paper is just lying right there on the floor, like she just set it down, like she was assuming nobody would dare breach her personal space.
Yeah.
I'm a wolf.
So do you like grab the
And
thing?
I was nowhere near, so who would have done it?
Do you grab the thing in your mouth or what?
No, I just look at it. Like I'll if it's crumpled up, I'll sort of uncurl it with my nose and just
Okay.
take a look at it.
It's in a language you don't know.
I will do my best to sort of transfer the image of this to C.
C doesn't know the language either.
I might
Given
suspect
that-
that I know what language it is, though. All things considered.
And why don't you roll for that? See, let's see, intelligence.
Wits and enigmas or intelligence and enigmas.
Yeah, let's do intelligence and enigmas because you have some time to kind of puzzle it out.
Can you shoot it to the rest of us just in
My-
case, so we can roll?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there aren't actually private channels. With my pop culture specialty, could I make a...
If
What difficulty?
I'm trying to determine that if other people are rolling for it, for them it's going to be difficulty 9. For
Okay.
C,
Okay.
difficulty 7.
7.
It's intelligence and enigmas? Or wits?
I'm going to say intelligence because there's not like it doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
quick thing. You've got all the
I have
time. You
one.
need to puzzle it out.
I'm better at wits, is my thing.
I'm assuming pop
1 success.
culture would not apply.
Nope.
And then once that image is sort of
Will be 9. 2 successes. Jeez.
Interesting. Okay.
1 success for Tag.
once that
Everyone
okay.
knows this thing, apparently.
I don't, but
Well, the successes.
That doesn't
Only gets you
necessarily
so
mean
much
we
with
know
this
what it
particular-
is.
Right. Exactly.
I can
Yeah.
probably ballpark it's not
Yeah.
this set of things.
There are some things that people literally cannot know, but at least can sort of figure out.
and
So see, you're something about it is ringing a bell for you, but you're not 100% sure what. Craig, Grudek and Tig, you both know this is not a commonly written or spoken language. It doesn't resemble. You can say with certainty that this is not a common language.
Mhm.
And then Thistle, you're vaguely reminded of a website that you happen to see for the local native tribe, the Ohlone Indians. There was a section on their language, and something about it sort of like vaguely reminds you of that, but you couldn't say for sure whether it's the same language or not, but it just kind of rings that bell in your mind.
after
Oh,
after broadcasting that image to everyone, I'm just going to sneak back out of the tent, hoping that the people who are smarter about words will write it down.
And yeah, and then see, you feel like it's something that you've at least seen before, but you can't recall where.
so this is a bit of a logic leap, but it kind of looks like. Obviously, this isn't my specialty, but it kind of looks like a local native script. So it is possible it's the same thing the prophecy's written in, right? That was something that only
okay?
It
Morning
doesn't
Cloud.
look
Are we okay?
It doesn't look exactly like my heritage language, does it? The Muwekma language. It doesn't look exactly like.
No.
Okay. Because I might not be able to read that one, but I would still recognize it. But
Well, the thing is, well, your mom wasn't. Your grandfather was Muwekma, but you only met him like a few months ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, your mom was not.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm okay, hon. What are you gonna do?
Hey, Craig, can you
Go ahead, too.
back, or
Yeah. What's up?
just as long as
We're listening
Just-
to your conversation if you want to.
yeah.
Oh, I thought I was muted.
It happens.
Am I? Is it still coming through?
Yep.
Yes.
It's okay. So my hardware mute doesn't work at all.
No.
Okay.
I gotcha.
I'll have to do Skype wise.
You're good. Can't hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you need me to make another roll, but I sneak out of the.
Okay. So the fact that you got, let's see, it was 2 successes right on your
My first
stealth
stealth
roll.
roll. Yep.
Yeah. 3 is complete success. So what happens is no one sees you go in, but one person notices you coming out.
I have a stick in my mouth. I picked it up off the floor.
And they kind of look at you like, what the heck, but you're already leaving, so they don't, investigate. It's just one of the keepers or something. Probably Estrella, because she's always watching you guys. Like, happened to notice you coming out and is like, what? But she doesn't make a thing of it and just lets you go. But she did see that you were in there.
I mean, again, it's kind of a leap, but I feel like we know what that letter says. Even if we don't know what that letter says.
Do we?
Yeah. You guys didn't hear the part where I said I was secretly a Black Spiral, right?
No,
you muted
you
that.
were muted
Okay, good,
for that
good.
bit. Yeah.
But no, I mean, all kidding aside, yeah. Grudek, did Thistle say that in character?
Yeah, Thistle is still at the table eating, probably.
Okay.
Doing the mind link thing.
And just occasionally spacing off to converse mentally. Also trying to not look freaked out about the invasions of personal privacy and other or totally not things that we should be doing behavior that might get the pack in trouble. So supporting the not incriminating at the moment. So just trying to eat and examine porridge or whatever it happens to be.
And what are we all planning then? I mean, sure, shite's gone down around about these parts, but we've also got that reported van sighting down by your relative's place there, see?
C, while it's still fresh in his mind, is going to take out his journal and do his best on one of the latter pages to copy down the script of the letter.
I'm guessing from
Craig, we can hear the dishwasher in the back.
Garbage disposal.
Or what at that?
Yeah. Remember to make liberal use of the mute if needed. What was I going to say? What was the question?
I was trying to copy down the script of the letter that got.
Oh, right.
broadcast to me.
I don't think from Shadow's brief glance and being unable to read the letter and then getting out of there and just sending it to you mentally, I don't think there would be anything you could really copy down particularly.
All right. That's fine.
The one thing that you did notice is that, it was written in regular Romanized letters, so whatever language it is, it doesn't have its own writing.
Doesn't have its own alphabet.
Yeah. It's one of the many languages that has used that alphabet for centuries. So other sort of I know we don't know what it says, but do I know how long it was? Was it like multiple paragraphs? Was it seemingly something quick?
It was. You would have been able to see that in Shadow's glimpse, and it looked like about brief paragraphs. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
So not like just 1 or 2 lines, something a little more thorough, but not like a really extensive letter. Got it.
Yeah, I would say it looked like maybe a 2-sentence paragraph and then another 2-sentence paragraph. And that was it. And it looked like it was signed because there was a little word at the bottom. And there was a salutation at the top. So it looked like it was in the form of a letter. It was just basically Irish to you
not
guys.
Basically Thistle's going, is it, hey, everything's fine, here's your monthly update, or everyone's dead, fucking and cry. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So in between. Good to know.
If there is a signature at the bottom, is it recognizable as a name, or
one would assume it was a name? Yeah.
But it's not a name that rings a bell to any of us.
At the bottom, no, it was not. It wouldn't have rung a bell to Shadow, and so he probably didn't fully process it. Like, he was just looking at the.
I'm just sort of looking at the thing as a whole. Like, this is what I see. I don't know what it says.
I mean,
letters and consonants and vowels, and then in a letter shape.
Is this something that we can learn about elsewhere? I'll ask of the telepathic bond. Jack, you're muted.
Well, if it's something that you wanted to research at length, it'd be probably best to have the item in hand. Did you bring it with you?
No.
Don't feel exactly
it's
right
your
about
call,
stealing
but-
somebody else's correspondence.
How well can we
Like
transcribe
she
it?
may notice this is missing and point at the one who nosed into her tent slightly beforehand.
Well, in that case, Thistle, you got a phone on you to take pictures?
Yeah.
Well, if Shadow's clearly evident somewhere else in the campsite, then I don't mind going in and grabbing ourselves a wee facsimile of the item in question.
That's not a bad idea. So question, with my phone that is, this is a mechanics question, I'm sorry. My phone is bound as a artifact. Can I give, or not artifact?
It's dedicated. Yeah.
Yes, my phone is dedicated to me through my right. Can I give it to someone else to use? Or
Actually, no. Yeah.
okay.
Well, not without breaking the dedication, and then you'd have to do it again.
I don't feel like doing that again. That's
Yeah, it can be, and then it can fail, and so this may be something that you have to do yourself.
It is something I have to do myself. And while I have that right, I would really like to not continue bastardizing the rights from the people that I am trying to convince me to teach other rights, because I
Oh, right. I meant the actual photographing may be something that you have to do yourself, because you wouldn't be able to hand the phone off to the stealthier party member.
I mean,
and
terribly.
Z's the only one who could have their phone here because we all have to shift to get up here.
Yeah.
How possible is it for us to transcribe it from
actually,
the mental link?
Thistle will. So I didn't share all of that. So
Am I super muted now?
No,
No,
we can hear you.
we can hear you
Okay.
now.
No, it's just
we
Aaron
can
was
hear
in the
you.
middle of
I
thought.
just said I didn't share all of that. I was asking the GM a question.
Right.
So phone, I have one. I also have an iPad in my bag here, which
Oh.
has a camera on it.
One hand, two hands. Doesn't matter to me.
All right. I'll go grab that for you.
Good call, I'd say.
I
Teamwork.
assume people may have assumed because Thistle hasn't hidden it, but Z has not specifically told anyone that piece of information.
That the phone is found, or
That I have dedicated. my
okay.
phone. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Okay. Good to know.
So Ty will go with Thistle and grab the iPad and try his best to unobtrusively.
I'm going to go lay in a spot that is not immediately in the path, but that has visibility to wherever Morning Cloud went. So that I can sort of keep curl up, lay down, and keep a watch on her coming back.
Yeah, she just went to the Redwood Circle, and she's currently hanging out there talking with March Lion.
This is the morning, right?
Yep,
I was
it's
trying to intercept
mid-morning.
her with the tea before she got there. Did that happen?
No, as I said, when she left the tent, she was doing a very strong, nobody bother me, like urgency beeline kind of thing, and she would have just bowled over anybody that tried to stop her.
Okay.
Probably wasn't even, like, you would have had to sprint with the tea to catch her, so I'm guessing that probably didn't.
Don't think Grudek hasn't sprinted after somebody with tea at some point in his life.
But no, she's gone.
Okay.
And currently hanging out with Marchline.
I might try if I can to keep if there's anywhere nearby where I can keep the tea warm, try to intercept her as she comes back out.
Okay. There's, at the eating area, there's like a little fire with the thing over it with stuff hanging where you can boil
The
or
spit.
that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's actually like a couple of cooking fires, and there's no electricity, but I mean, you could probably keep tea warm for a while, by hanging it at the appropriate distance over the fire.
Uh-huh. So once Tag has the iPad, he's just going to kind of wander through the campsite a little bit, ostensibly looking at the iPad, but in actuality trying to keep an eye out and wait for a very good moment when literally nobody's looking.
Okay.
Because he wants to minimize the risk on this as much as possible.
Can Thistle... I mean, I have several points in larceny as well. Can Thistle essentially cover for a spot?
Yeah, do your mechanics for whatever, like, your support thing. Like if you're trying to do like a teamwork with Tygon, I'll do the sleight of hand distracty thing. Yeah. However that mechanic works, you can apply that here for sure. And Tyg, for you, it will be...
I don't know how much this will be helpful, but inspire everyone around you to greater effort. You give any group effort +1 to its dice total and have a -2 difficulty on related social roles.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So basically, I'll get a +1 to my.
Yep. You get an extra.
Sneaking.
Yep. +1. Yep. Modified dice pool there, and it's going to be. I'm thinking wits and stealth here because trying to take in where everybody's looking, pick the right moment.
And if either of you have to lie to someone about why you were doing this, it's a -2 on the difficulty.
Yes.
And what's my difficulty there?
Your difficulty is I guess it's the same difficulty as it was before. We just have to count on your higher skills. It was difficulty 8, wasn't it, when Shadow did it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to spend a willpower.
Okay, and that gives you 1 guaranteed success, right?
1 guaranteed success. Yep.
Okay.
So that's a total of 2 successes.
Okay. Same situation as with Shadow.
Right.
Nobody sees you go in. You manage to get a good, clear picture of the thing, especially since Shadow kind of unfurled it while he was in there.
Mhm.
And it's just on your way out, because you weren't able from inside the tent to accurately gauge
Right.
is anyone, and Thistle was doing the best as he could to like broadcast to you, is anyone looking, but Thistle is looking this way right as Estrella again turns her attention in that direction right as Tig is coming out. And this time she does kind of tip her head like, what are you guys doing? But she doesn't
Okay.
look too bothered about it. Like she's just
So
like,
I had.
head like, you guys.
Mhm. So I had 2
Someone's gonna need to
successes.
flirt with Australia later.
Got you all covered there, Thistle. So
Okay.
Tig actually, so he goes in. The very first thing he does is spot the note, I assume, and he'll sort of spread it out, take a photo on the iPad, and then stash the iPad in his pants, and then recrumple the note, and then he will pull out his own notebook and jot off a quick note to Morning Cloud, basically something along the lines of, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me during the previous evening. I know things aren't easy having all these newcomers in the Western Eye, but if there's anything I can ever do to help in whatever capacity would be appropriate.
He writes all of this while he's inside the tent.
Well, and
Shorthand.
right, and then just signs it, Tig Connolly,
Okay.
folds it up, leaves
I guess it
in a
doesn't matter
very-
how long he's in there since no one saw him go in. So
Right, yeah. Yeah, and leaves it in a very obvious place and probably somewhat attention diverted away from the actual crumpled note on
that's
the
very
floor.
clever. Yeah.
And
So-
then
If
I went in.
Australia
I went
was
into. I went in to leave her a note.
I went and
Yeah.
deliver a note.
So yeah.
Yeah, and then
If
as
anything,
soon
it
as
just
it,
looks
as
like
soon as he comes in,
over-attentive socialization.
right, and then as soon as he comes out, glancing immediately around for anybody who might have seen him, and as soon as he catches Estrella's eye, just gives her his smolderiest wink and grin, and swans off the other direction.
Actually,
boy.
roll a charisma and expression, I guess.
Okay.
Difficulty 6.
All right. Let me see what I've got there. One success.
Okay. So she looks like she's no longer interested in asking what the heck that was about. She's like all flustered by the wink and just goes on about her business, trying to look like extra suave as she does her gardening. And so she's now mostly focused on, oh, how's my hair?
Right. Suddenly must make sure that everything looks as best as possible.
Yes.
Cool.
All right. So you've got a clear photo of the letter. I won't make you roll for that because I think basically anyone can take a photograph of a piece of paper with an iPad. So that succeeded.
I have some people to introduce you to. That will disprove that statement.
Are they over 85 years of age? Because
No.
that I would buy.
Nope.
Right. But yeah, and then after exiting the tent, he finds a somewhat secluded place and basically says, "All right, come and get it." Hey, got ourselves a photograph here. Somebody come and take a look at this.
C makes his way over after having not found his ancestor, presumably.
Nope. Nope. Alas. It was a wish-induced hallucination.
It was a
either,
mockingbird.
either that or it was a bird. Yeah.
It was a mockingbird.
There are actually quite a few little corvids of some kind occupying this
He
forest.
finds a
Feathers.
vaguely dark-colored feather and is like, "What are you trying to tell me? What's up?"
There's a
Oh.
raven.
Call, motherfucker.
Remember, Jack? We heard a great many of those.
Oh yes. Yep.
Pocket
No,
trends.
there's ravens up there. That's for damn sure.
They sound so cool, guys. Like super cool.
I mean, in all honesty, if he does find just like a stray raven feather, he probably just like picks it up, looks at it for a second, and then just like probably hold on to it like in a pocket for later, so you can.
Congratulations, you've now got avian lice.
Oh boy. Okay, so are you all going to converge upon Tig and his little wherever he's hanging out in the woods with his photograph? Okay.
Sure.
I think unless we all should be there, I think Gridek's probably going to still sort of hang out.
Okay. It looks
near
like
the Cedar Grove.
as he's watching March Lion and Morning Cloud, and in the Redwood Circle, they seem to be having a fairly involved discussion. It looks like he might be teaching her something or telling her something. She's just she's not doing a lot of talking anymore. She's just kind of listening and nodding, and she doesn't look upset anymore. So it's possible that he's giving her some kind of orientation into, the whole Reitmeister thing, because she did literally just tell him this morning, "Hey, I want to take over your job." So it looks at this point like it might be kind of a businessy conversation.
Then he'll put down the cup of tea somewhere fairly obvious on top of a rock or something somewhat straight near the exit, and then dig in his pockets, pull out a wax pencil and some scrap of paper or a receipt or something. In fact, it's probably a receipt from Borderlands, from when he got the what was he reading? Journey to the Center of the Earth, and it just will scrawl on the back of it. For Morning Cloud, thought you might need a pick me up, and then tuck that under the cup, and then leave it, and then go join the others.
Okay.
And I, as a player, Grudek would not think this, but I, as a player, am now thinking, boy, she's going to think that's poisoned.
Yep,
but
I was thinking the same thing. I just didn't say it.
No, but that doesn't occur to Grudek, so.
And let's see if I can get out of my. Hey! As I head over towards the group, I like sort of as I walk, just.
Very impressive.
And it's primal urge
Jack.
plus what?
Stamina.
Stamina.
Okay.
Yeah, stamina and primal urge. So Tig basically holds onto the iPad until C gets there, and then just flips to whatever gallery entry it is that he just took. He probably took a couple, just to be careful, and just sort of hands it to him.
Okay, see, since you're actually looking at the thing, now I'm going to have you do another roll, Intelligence and Enigmas, difficulty 7.
Now that you're looking at it through your own eyes, rather than shadows, I can't read this. I'm immediately disinterested eyes.
I have a success.
Okay. You are pretty sure that you've seen your mom at some point in your childhood. You're pretty sure you've seen your mom reading a letter very similar to that. You have like a vague memory of looking at it and being like, okay, it was like in an age where you're like, I know that I can read, so why doesn't this make any sense to me?
Did I ever ask her what the language was and get an answer?
If you did, she acted like she had no idea what you were talking about.
Okay.
So that may have been what made the memory stick with you, is that your mom wasn't usually she was usually pretty open with you and like a very cool mom, and she hardly ever just flat out lied to you. But like that was one of the occasions where she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't have a letter.
Well, I don't know what it says, but this might be a situation of needing to ask a favor of my family. I believe that I saw something similar with my mother when I was younger.
Do any of us have to wear tank top this time?
No.
Okay.
Can I look at it for a sec?
Pass it over to Thistle.
So, I know I can't read this, but I am a fantasy nerd. But that doesn't matter. I'm going to go for... I want to do two things in these, maybe two separate roles.
Okay.
One, I want to try and, now that I have it in front of me, as opposed to just being like in several paragraphs, I want to see, does this seem, especially if it's Roman alphabet, even better, does it seem like it was written in a hurry? What way do the words seem to slant, if at all?
Excellent.
Is it block letters trying to conceal personality, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
That sort of like empathy read.
Yeah, that's actually going to be a kind of an unusual role, because I think we're looking at like intelligence plus empathy, because you're both trying to, reason it out logically and also like imagine someone's feels.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually
how does this letter have feeling?
What's my
Next
feelings on
Pixar
this letter?
movie. What if the words written on a page had feelings? And what difficulty would that be at?
Actually, I'm going to say difficulty 6 on this.
Okay.
They were written by someone in a rush, and there's just the faintest hint of blood on the corner that says...
3 successes.
Okay,
Nice.
whoever wrote this letter was really, really frightened. You can actually see when you look closely at it, the way the letters look a little shaky, as though the hand were trembling as it was writing. And the person does not write very well. It is someone who does not have a lot of practice at handwriting, knows how to do it, but doesn't do it regularly. So either someone very young or someone just not super literate, or both.
Yeah. Okay. Second question. So after the what about essentially what this was going to try and do is even with transposed languages, often you can easily pick out, okay, these are sentence breaks, these are the short words, so ofs and ons and ands.
Yep. Okay. This is straight up intelligence and enigmas, so you can...
Intelligence and enigmas. Does pop culture apply?
No.
Oh. What difficulty?
Oh, yeah. Intelligence and enigmas, difficulty, we'll say 7.
Okay. Sorry, I'm so bad at putting that in. I just... 2 successes.
Okay. So you can tell that it is not any kind of cipher or code, that this is an actual, it is structured like an actual language. Just by patterns of it, it looks like it is an attempt to render, basically an attempt to render a spoken language using the Roman alphabet.
Yeah. So I can't make out with 2 successes where like the shorter sounds are, or any lists, things like that. Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. You can kind of guess like which word I mean, obviously you can tell which word is the name
Hmm.
because it's
Yeah.
the last word on the note. It's Anshar, Anshar. And you can assume that the word at the top is meant to be whoever it's addressed to. It doesn't say Sharon. It doesn't say Morning Cloud. It says something else, though.
Okay. So no doubt I can't read it, but this person was scared and potentially pretty illiterate, so
Can I
that
see-
doesn't match the more optimistic thoughts about what might be causing the crying on the letter.
Can I see for just a minute again?
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, with the thing actually in front of him, he's gonna like pull to like one of the last pages of his notebook and leaving out the salutation and the signature, just take the main body of the letter and write it down as neat and cleanly as he can get the letters.
That's not difficult to do. Despite the shakiness of the handwriting, it's pretty clear what the letters are supposed to be. It was written carefully, if.
All right. Leave half a letter space between each of your letters.
Doesn't look like it's written fast. That's the other thing I should have
Yeah.
said. It's shaky, but it looks, careful, like the person had plenty of time to write it.
This wasn't a, oh my god, they're coming. I can hear them outside the door. They're trails off in blood.
Drums.
No,
and
it's
the
more
beat.
like the ones you find in video games for that, where it's like, I can hear them outside the door. Let me take a minute to write 5 paragraphs. Thanks, Skyrim.
But you got 3 successes on that What If Words Had Feelings roll, right? So this is a thing I know that handwriting analysts can actually tell. So I'll just throw this in as well, since that was full successes. It looks like the person was sitting down.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because there is a different angle based on whether you're sitting or standing. It's just not easy for normal people to read.
The problem is when your handwriting looks like mine, it may not matter. It's just illegible.
I've got a couple of friends like that too. Yeah. Mine has a wide range of like near perfect to utterly scroll.
The power of the fan theory.
Is this information something we can gather while heading to the RV park?
I don't feel like that's anywhere near the same direction as my home.
Yeah, your parents live kind of.
Did we decide it wasn't a good idea to go to the RV park, didn't we?
Well, there was the suggestion that if, and this is all over MindLink, if there's a informant here that's getting things and feeling like they might be needing a bit more space to maneuver, sending that RV down there, or the van down to the RV park, I should say, for a bit of a distraction so that a number of us go down and see if we can figure out what's getting stirred up when the actual action's happening back here at the set.
There was also the suggestion that, I mean, absolutely no offense. They might kill all of us because they don't like outsiders, and maybe we should just respect their boundaries and go through slightly the proper channels on warning them of danger.
Over the mind link.
Yeah.
However, no, this is me over the mind link. However, there is black spiral activity in that area. We needed to determine whether or not that particular group is working with them or had become victims of them. Even if it's a distraction, we still need to verify.
I think we could.
If this letter is from who I think it is, I suspect that the contents of it may provide a little bit of insight into that.
We should go get it translated if you think we can.
I would need to speak with my mother.
Although, just as a bit of a consideration, if y'all are thinking it's something incriminating, Leaving it dropped and crumpled on the floor of your tent, not exactly the most secure. And if somebody's a traitor, they're going to take better precautions than that sort of shite.
Then I'm hoping that we'll find that it's a letter from the people who live there and they are still fine. The handwriting being hurried from fear does not speak positively, though.
It could be a warning.
Is there a faster way you could get it to your parents? Could we send it by emails or
Not from
obviously
here.
not from here, but I know. But obviously not from here, but from closer than it would take to drive out. I don't know how far your parents live.
If my father was the one who sees it first, he would have no idea what to do with it, and I feel like this is the sort of thing that my mother would need understanding of how important it is that I know the answer.
So can you give her a wee call on the phone before you send it over?
Not from here.
I mean,
One-
eventually.
One, not from here. Two,
The logistics of this are it would take you an hour to get somewhere where you could like make a phone call, and then 2 hours to get to C's parents' place. Basically, is what we're looking at.
and
Right. I mean, and my thought is just if we could cut out the 4-hour round trip to drive to the parents' place, we might still be able to make it to the RV park.
It's a possibility, but I feel like we won't get the answer anywhere near as immediately as if we visited in person. I don't know about you, but my mother doesn't check her email or text that often.
She's a painter, so she's
She
often lost.
doesn't. She might not even have her phone on her. Calling her might be a waste of time.
Well,
If
then
this
see,
is
do you
something
want us to
you
come
feel
with
like
you, or
you
is-
need to do in person, then it's something you need to do in person.
If you want to come with,
No.
you're welcome to, or if you want to accomplish anything else that you feel you can while I'm gone, this is just as viable.
If you need us with you, of course we will come. But perhaps if you're comfortable traveling alone, perhaps the rest of us could go accomplish another task. I still think is worth checking out our V park. Maybe not entering, but observing.
We cannot
you won't-
drive.
I can drive.
You won't be
Do you have
able
a car?
to.
Because I sure don't.
Could borrow silver glare. She let us use it before.
She let me use it before.
Responsible driver? I know I don't look like it, but I legitimately am.
I also
Hey,
have
well,
driver's
happy-
license. I have several driver's licenses.
That doesn't speak well. Renee.
I mean,
For different countries. Don't be smart.
I have no driver's licenses, so that would make Grudek several times a better driver than me.
That's not-
You
not
and me
how that
both there,
works.
big fella.
Oh, Shadow.
But
Okay.
if you wouldn't be able to enter safely, so I do not recommend entering the RV park. But if you do want to scout, that is fine.
Oh,
Perhaps
no
night
offense.
would be better anyway. I don't imagine. Well, I was going to say I don't imagine Black Spirals would be up to too much during the day, but their attack and scouting on the Sept was during daylight. Yes, that's what we heard.
I believe it was.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
Well, they definitely had no problem popping out the penumbra in the middle of broad daylight and around a whole bunch of other individual people. So,
So,
For
and no offense, C, but I'm not keen on running into all your deliverance relations in the middle of the dark.
So, purposes of reconnaissance, Tig and I would potentially have an advantage at night.
I don't know if C has shared that information. Sorry.
Which information?
C, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but C got information specifically that they can do fucking stuff in the dark.
Yeah, and I honestly don't remember whether that was
As far as I
shared
know,
or
it
not.
wasn't.
Oh,
Don't think it was.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind William that
Yeah.
C would know that if it
Thank you
matters.
for the reminder.
Sure.
No, you would not have an advantage at night.
Not?
No, you wouldn't.
could you tell us why that is?
Could you elaborate?
I understand, sort of your birthright to be all obscure, but come on.
It's not completely within my understanding or really even my liberty, but the abilities of the people who live there almost make them definitely make them more potent at night.
Yeah, that is pretty much how he would remember that exchange.
Okay.
It's correct.
Daylight reconnaissance would be better.
All right, so we see if we can borrow a set of wheels, and then C goes and tries to get this translated, and the rest of us take a wee jaunt down to Emerald. What's it?
Thistle, would you prefer to go with C?
No, yet and Thistle will just turn to C. It's your decision, and I'll do what you say, of course. I think this is a bad idea. I think that going there is really risky, risks alienating a potential ally, risks an encounter that we aren't ready to take on, risks a lot, especially if you're not going to be able to be there, given that you're the one they're most positively disposed to. Sort of looks at not Grudek, but sort of Tig and Shadow. A few of us are not necessarily of type that would be particularly welcome, even beyond just being outsiders.
I would definitely say to keep your reconnaissance outside of the fence boundaries.
Of course.
If you can.
Oh, I know. I'm guessing that wherever this van's parked, it's probably in one of the public areas. Unlikely they'd be able to push in on your relatives' territory. And no, you're absolutely right, Thistle. There's a high amount of risk going down there. We run into those folks that are not likely to give us any sort of warm welcome. So I'm planning that we should probably keep as far a distance as possible.
Indeed.
So in that case,
agree.
what I'm curious about is, beyond seeing the location for ourselves and beyond saying, well, the van's still there, or is there now, or well, the van wasn't there or isn't there anymore, what do we hope to learn?
Can observe the van if it's still there and see if they return to it. If they return, we see which direction from which they come. Thistle, I trust me, I understand the desire for caution, and I understand absolutely desire to keep Pack safe, but with respect, I do not mean this to sound harsh at all. Just if it does so, please blame it on my poor grasp of language. But if we wait until to act until all is always in preparation, Gaia will die around us. We need sometimes to be bold. And again,
it's not about being bold. It's about knowing what benefit there is to gain from our action.
I will explain, if you will let me. There are many reasons why we should scout these people out. Not C's relations, not the Uktena offshoot that live within the RV pod, but the Black Spirals themselves. 1. We have their known mode of transportation located here when last seen. We need to see if it is still there. 2. We need to determine if it is still their mode of transportation. If they have abandoned this vehicle in a parking lot and removed all traces of themselves from it and have no intention of returning to it, we need to know. Because we may be keeping an eye on a van that is now meaningless. 3. We need to know what their activities in the area are, not just within the boundaries of the RV park, but in the parking lot and the surrounding areas. If they have taken up residence in nearby areas, we need to know. The people there will not be any more safe than those within the park. 4. If they are having activities there in that area, we need to determine what type of activities they are. If they are digging a pit, or preparing another area like the building that we found them in previously, that will need to be reported back, that we can gather the appropriate forces to drive them out. I can go on, but I feel that should be enough.
And do you think that we are a group that is, this is your area of expertise, are we a group that is prepared to handle that?
Reconnaissance is best handled by a small group, yes. We are prepared for that. Are we prepared for a full-scale assault? No. But we have the most knowledge of the situation. We have a good amount of knowledge of the threat. That makes us ideal for looking into it and reporting back.
And if we get down there and it turns out that they're all camped out and sitting on top of their van, we're going to fuck right off the other direction as soon as we possibly can.
We cannot take on an entire sect of them, but we can find their location.
Thistle will look to see. I'll say one last thing. I don't... Given that Morning Cloud has apparently accepted a position, it seems like positions, leadership, the structure within the camp is shifting. It may be valuable to be here, especially as I've voiced concern before for the... I'm sorry, it's been 2 weeks. Emma, I believe her name was?
Emma,
Mhm.
Sorry.
Okay. Especially, I voiced concern before for Emma, but it's your decision.
Well, let me offer this then. Do you wish to split into 3 groups? One to examine the RV, myself to get this document translated, and another to be an eye in the cairn. We do have long-range communication.
I think as much as I would in general hesitate to split the pack, I think today that may be best option.
You might not be wrong there.
Can I ask what... Can I ask what the curse would be?
Tig, do you know how to use public transportation?
Oh, I am fairly familiar with the general execution.
Tig and
Rudak.
I go scout out the RV park. We are the most suited to that task.
Do I know if they can get there with public transport?
I don't believe. I think they can probably get there on a bus. It's going to be a long, complicated, lots of transfers kind of situation.
Given that I am a local of the city who regularly uses public transit to get to unusual places, could I try and essentially map out from what I have stored locally on my phone?
Yeah,
What
you can
route?
probably
Yeah.
figure that out. And it looks like they could get there by public transport, but it'll be so kind of inefficient with all the transfers and everything that by the time they get there, it'll probably be late afternoon. So they'll have to wrap up quick before things get dark. It's end of September, so
Okay.
Would it be
Oh,
faster
yeah.
running across the city?
Why don't
As
we ask
wolves.
Silverglare?
Yeah.
Why don't we ask Silverglare to borrow her car? If we're there for reconnaissance and there is shadow, as you pointed out, if we arrive and the black spirals are, as you say, sunbathing on the roof of van, we may need to leave quickly. Easier to do that if we have own car.
Well, here's an idea.
So,
Grudak. There's a possibility that I don't know if Silverglare's busy today, but maybe she could run me and shadow down there, and you and Thistle can stay behind and keep an eye on the wee lass.
Okay, if you want me to stay, I'll stay.
Well, if we're trying to keep an eye out on what's going on around the cairn, I figure you and Thistle are probably our best options there.
Grudak looks a little bit disappointed, but nods and steps back.
I can handle it if
Either
I
way.
think it's best that everyone takes the task that they are most willing for. If Grudak wishes to join on scouting, he should be given that option. Thistle, am I to assume that you would rather stay here?
yes, I think it's valuable to have someone around, especially if things are shifting.
All right. So, you at the very least will stay here. Try and keep within communication if you can. And those of you who wish to go and scout, do so, and I will get this translated as quickly as I can.
Rudek, if you would get the keys.
Just to explain, my only reasoning, and again, if everyone thinks I would be more useful here, I will certainly stay. But my reasoning is, unless there are more Garu in this sept that have turned than we expect, I think one would be well suited here. Not knowing what awaits us out
You're
by the
also-
RV park, I think it may behoove us to have more people potentially there. I hope we will not need them, but
No, it's a fair
You're
point.
also the only one of us who's able to, at least that I know, reliably sense if the worm may be present in the context not just of the worm as sort of a permeating force, but specific agents of or corruption by.
No, that'd
Yeah.
be helpful to have along. You're absolutely right. Both of you.
All
he,
right.
And
he smiles wanly and taps his nose.
also, assuming that what you learn does not immediately require you to join us, you could return to the cairn then.
Yes,
And there will be two
I
of
will make that decision once I have learned what this document says.
We have our tasks. A set to them.
all right, and
play
that's
to us, then.
actually a really good place for a break, which I'm going to remember to do this week.
All right.
So gather yourselves for your respective missions, and in the meantime, grab a snack, a drink, whatever.
We'll be back
15.
in a few minutes. And we're back.
Okay, so everybody's got your mission that you have chosen to accept. C will be going to run this letter by his mom, see if she can give him a translation. Gruder and Shadow and Tig are going to go down to the RV park and see if they can scout around and find any traces of our black spiral friends carefully. And then Thistle's going to hold down the fort at the cairn and make sure nothing explodes while everyone's gone, as things seem likely to do in this place lately. All right, so, and they're off. Did you say you were going to try to get Silverglare to drive you to the RV park, or?
I think we were just gonna try to borrow her keys.
Okay.
Because Grudak
In
can
either
drive.
case, you will need to go and pester her. She's actually still hanging out in the general eating, living area. Just at
Perfect.
the moment, she's talking to Siobhan.
Okay.
Or seems to be off playing with the other little boy in the woods somewhere.
Grudak will ooze his way into the situation and sort of slide down to the bench
I'll
across from them.
Follow behind Grudak.
You sound like the scummy type of Bonar.
Going to ooze my way into the situation.
Well, he's
I
not.
mean, little,
he's
little,
not
little known fact, Grudak's
the best.
actual name is Ivan Ooze.
No.
For your mid '90s callbacks.
Siobhan notices Grudak first and gives him a big grin and says, "Hey, Papa Grudak.
You should run. How's breakfast? Everything good?
You are just so good at this. How did you get so good at making food?"
Oh, I made a lot of bad food for a long time first. Because
Well,
you remember what we talked about.
Ridge Runner made a lot of really bad food, and it didn't seem to help him. So you must have some other secret.
Oh, well, you remember like we talked about. Everything worth doing well, you got to do really, really bad for a long time first, right?
Yeah, but that's no fun at all.
I know, but
Silverglare just rolls her eyes at her daughter and
I
kind of
know, but it's
puts a
fun.
hand on her head and physically pushes her kind of to the side and down, this very alpha wolf kind of, all right, cub, down, and
Did
turns
you tell-
to Grudak.
Did you tell your mama what a great job you did welcoming your new friend?
She did several times. The Silverglare with this look like kids.
Grudak smiles and says, "Honestly, Silverglare, you really would be so proud of her. She was just wonderful, welcoming. Really did a great job starting to draw her out. So, Siobhan, thank you again."
She's all right, but I don't like to praise her too much in front of her because it really goes to her head very, very fast, and we'll never hear the end of it. But
That's
look at her.
okay.
She's glowing like a nuclear accident. Thanks for that. I'm
Well-
assuming it was probably me you came over here for, unless you want to take my daughter away and play with her for a while. I would be thankful for that.
Maybe in a little bit. Actually, yes. As it happens, I did have a small favor to ask.
Of course you did.
And Tig leans out from behind him and goes,
in continuation with sort of parenting issues of the sort that we've been dealing with recently, we were hoping we might be able to borrow your van.
Borrow a van. Well, C didn't crash it the last time I let him drive it, so I suppose I could trust him behind the wheel of it again. But how long are you planning on being gone? I want to get out of here this evening. I have a date in town tonight.
Oh, don't worry. We'll definitely be back before evening. I have no idea how far this place is. Do we know in character? Grudak is saying this regardless.
None of
but-
you know.
I feel
None
like
of you
C
can
would
do
have.
that math.
I made an
yeah.
estimate for
Oh, did you?
buffing.
Okay.
No, actually, I know exactly what Grudak is going to say. C said his drive was going to be about 2 hours, so round trip he would be behind the wheel for 4.
Think it
That
like
is-
a ragged patch.
That is not a lie.
All right. Yeah, that should give me plenty of time to get out of here and back to the city. And
You're gonna make C have a conversation with Silverglare when you're back 6 hours later.
Especially when C gets back way earlier and like, oh, C, where's my keys? He's like, what keys?
yeah. So I guess since Thistle's pretty local and savvy, Z might be aware that it's about 2 to 3 hours just to get there from the parking lot of here. So you've got the hour walk to the parking lot, plus, depending on traffic, maybe up to 3 hours to get down there. So it's going to be like an 8-hour round trip probably. And it's currently maybe 11 a.m. or so.
Okay.
So she probably wouldn't have her car back in time for her date. It's up to you whether that matters to you.
He says,
I am not saying anything because I am assuming that Grunek has made the executive decision to swap cars with C.
Rudek has a way of charming people into thinking that he couldn't possibly be doing anything.
Just so we make sure, because you know how traffic can be. What time you could come and meet us just in case, if we aren't back by the time you need to start making the hike. What time do you need to leave from parking lot?
I would say by 6 or so.
Okay. Yeah, it's no problem. We'll make sure your car is back.
All right. Well, you've done me no wrong so far, so I'll give you another chance. I do have more than enough to do around here for the day, so you remember which one it is, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Let me just get my keys. I think I left them in the cab.
As soon as he hears the term "one more chance," Tig is gone. He is out. He is desperately hoping she will forget that he was even part of the conversation.
So she hoofs it to Tea Tree's cabin, actually, and then comes back out. She apparently had left her purse in there.
Shadow's gullible, so he believes Grudek means what he says.
Oh, absolutely, of course. Grudek would lie. Nobody would lie, ever.
Well, people might lie, but those are bad people who will get killed.
So she comes back with her purse and fishes her keys out. And where is he anyway?
Going and getting ready to leave.
All right,
I can go get him.
That's fine. Here you go. She hands Grudek the keys.
Okay. Thank you, Silverglare, so much. And don't worry, we'll make sure that, that issue we talked about, we're staying on top of it, and we'll make sure we're back. Plenty of time for you to go for a date.
All right. Thank you.
Do you want us to pick anything up for you?
No, that's all right. Siobhan is fidgeting all this time, like, when's the conversation going to be about me again?
Thistle will look to Silverglare. If you need to take care of things, I can watch Siobhan for a bit if you like.
Oh, could you? She's
Sure.
Crazy right now.
Hey,
Do you like to? Siobhan says, "Do you like to play ball? Please say you like to play ball because I can't get Mom to play ball with me."
You're gonna have to teach me how to play your version of ball, but sure.
I just like straight up simple, throw it back and forth, make it as hard as you can, and I'll see if I can catch it. Very easy, very simple. You can do it, she says encouragingly, the 8-year-old, encouraging the adult.
Okay.
Good thing it's not. Good thing it's Thistle, not Shadow playing ball, because you might see an 8-year-old go rocketing across the lawn. You said as hard as I could.
Finally, someone will play with me. I'll go get the ball. So she runs off.
Sort of given, like if Silverglare doesn't gives permission, I'm gonna go off.
Yeah, Silverglare looks more than happy, and so Siobhan runs off to find her ball, and she's just left it lying in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is C?
Probably on his way to his own vehicle. So
okay. So Greg will sort of shake the keys at the other two and say, "All right, we got to go catch up with C."
You have
And
a
then
mental thing.
Tag gets 3 steps and then realizes he forgot something and runs back to his tent.
Over the mental link, I will see you should slow down.
See, slight change of plans. Silverglare has a hot date tonight. Not sure if we'll be back. Is it okay if we take your car, you take her car?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay. So we'll meet you at the parking lot, huh?
All right.
Oh, very nice of you, Gurdek. Very considerate.
I go grab my hammer.
Well,
Tag
yeah,
comes running back with a length of chain and a padlock wrapped around his forearm.
that one more chance thing stuck out in Grudek's head too.
And he seems marginally more cheerful, if that's a point he can actually reach.
I hold the I just sort of like holding the hammer by the haft closer to the head. Just hold it, just as we're walking towards the entrance. Just sort of hold it out casually towards Tig.
Grudek looks at these two.
I give him like a fist bump with the chain arm onto the head of the hammer.
That seems to have been the idea. Yes.
Okay. Tag's like, wait, what are we doing?
Tink.
Okay. Tink. Yeah.
You probably should have waited to shift into Krynos form before you wrapped the chain around your arm, but
He'll take it off and put it back on. Krynos form is basically just a bracelet at that point.
well, it
And I
probably
put
snapped the
control of
chain.
this. Let's go.
All right, so
Put it sort of like rest like a shawl on your shoulders for now.
doing some mid-morning boulder leaping. So there's the whole thing where you've got to wait for tourists, and so it takes you a little while.
Every time we do this, I'm reminded of like whenever Winnie the Pooh would walk across the pages of the book and then have to jump to the next page.
It is pretty much like that. You have to jump to the next part of the story.
Yes, we are just like Winnie the Pooh.
You have to put your bear head on.
Oh, bother.
And then
I turn my
back
head
off.
inside out. And it's a honey pot underneath.
So we will assume that without too much incident, the 4 of you managed to meet in the parking lot while Thistle and Siobhan are playing ball. And Thistle begins to see why Silverglare may have been reluctant, because Siobhan is basically like a golden retriever who just takes endless pleasure in just catching the ball over and over and over again. Like, not even like, she seems like she could do this literally all day. Just throw the ball again and I'll catch it and throw it at you. Throw the ball again and I'll catch it and throw it at you. She's like a retriever.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for if Emma or I can't remember the name of Silverglare's other kid. Come around, but I mean, Thistle's got 4 dots of stamina. Z can't necessarily do it all day, but Z can definitely do it long enough at the
long
rate.
enough to probably get super bored. All right. So
Well, it's not. Yeah. Not bored so much as trying to keep an eye on the rest of the atmosphere of the camp.
right. Right.
This doesn't require all of my attention to be on Siobhan, so I'm going to keep some of my attention on if anything big seems to happen or...
In the next hour or so, while they're walking down to the parking lot, not a whole lot changes. Morning Cloud is still talking to March Lion at the Cairn Center. Silverglare is still hanging out in the more general living area, just talking to various people. Occasionally, Thistle will see Zerdad and or Tea Tree in, relatively tense, terse conversation about sept business of various sorts. But they're still out and visible, so they don't seem to be having any kind of like secret huddles, elder huddles or anything. March Lion's doing his thing, and the other 2 Cairn elders are out, visible, reachable.
Yeah.
So too shady or weird going on yet.
Fine. Okay.
All right. And so the four of you get into your respective cars and begin driving to your destinations, I assume.
Get in the passenger seat, kick it all the way back.
Oh yeah.
But I'm basically
Does-
sitting next to Tig in the back. But I'm in
Does
the
Tig
back.
drive? Tig doesn't drive, right?
Hells no.
All right, time to put my 1 point in driving to work.
It's not Silverglare's car that gets crashed. It's mine.
Do you take your sword out, or is that still in the car?
My sword is probably still in the car, yes, because I don't expect to have to use it going to my mother's house.
Okay.
Always be prepared.
Grudek double checks to make sure it's not going to fall out on anybody as we drive, and then make sure everyone is buckled, and then starts
It's just
the car.
like there's a moment somewhere down the line where you hit a sudden brake and it starts sliding out, and Shadow's hand just goes and catches it, puts probably fingerprint dents in the ceiling.
So it's about an hour for C to drive to his parents' place, and about 3 hours for you guys to drive to the RV park. And you're leaving at round about noonish, because I said it was 11 a.m. when you were at the Sept, and then it takes about an hour to get out to the parking lot. So yeah, you leave around noon. That'll put C at his parents' place around 1 o'clock, and then eventually at around 3 o'clock, you guys will get to the RV park. So we'll assume things are relatively uneventful at the Sept for the time being, and C arrive at his parents' place.
Your headset's cutting out a little bit.
Oh. Yeah, that's going to be my internet connection.
Okay. Just didn't know if it was batteries or not.
85%. So, yeah, I think it's internet.
Aaron, I don't know if you can hear us, but could you mute?
Yeah, I'll point out that's not on my side this time.
Yeah, no, the water was.
They're back.
Sorry, I thought I remuted.
It's hard to tell. I always get paranoid, and I always check as I'm walking away. Hey guys, am I muted? Can you hear me? Can you still hear me? Hey guys, I say that every time I go on my break.
Well, now that you've told us, we're just going to mess with you.
Every time I walk away, you're gonna say
Yep, we can hear you, Michelle. Yep.
so mean. All right, so let's start with C at his parents' lovely home, Ingleside, which is probably worth $1.5 million at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, his dad's car is not in the driveway, which may simplify things. His dad's probably out doing entrepreneurial things at this time of day, but his mom's car is there. And so couldn't be easier.
C will park and head in, just kind of with his journal in his left hand, just knock on the door as he's opening it. That sort of very familiar household kind of thing of opening the door and then knock just to let people know that you're there.
Nice.
I forget. I know his mom's name is Tina. Did we name his dad?
I think we did, but I don't remember what it was.
You have a
Travis.
Travis. White dude name.
Tina and Travis. Come on.
I don't know that reference. Sorry. I'm like Captain America here. I'm the frozen old guy.
With Travis, I guess.
Okay, we'll go with Travis. Sure. Travis Walsh, white
That
dude
works.
extraordinaire.
Yeah, we established his last name, but not his first name.
Yes. Okay. So, as the door opens, he hears his mom call from her little upstairs painting studio. Travis, is that you? I thought you were meeting Bill for lunch.
No, that's me, Mother.
Oh, see. Hold on just a second. And there's like some thumping and scuffling from stairs, and then she comes down the staircase, and she looks so happy to see him, and she's got paint smudged all over her face and her hands. She's clearly been doing the thing where she gets paint on her hands and doesn't realize, and rubs her forehead and her nose and scratches her ears. So she's got various colors just smudged all over her, and she gives C a great big hug.
Return the hug. Good to see you.
Yeah, how are things going with your new friends? She says, sort of speaking in code, even though there's nobody else around, like almost out of habit.
It's going very well.
Wow.
I did come here because I needed something. Do you remember that letter from a long time ago that you wouldn't tell me what it said when I couldn't read it?
Oh my God, you remember that?
It kind of stuck out.
Well, I guess it doesn't hurt to tell you now since you saw them, but I got those letters on occasion, from my family, just to give me news or what have you. But I usually kept them from you, but you just happened to sneak into the kitchen that day and see me with one. But I used to get them, twice a year or so. Why did you remember that?
Well, because something written in the same language came up recently, and I was hoping you could translate it for me.
Oh, sure. No problem.
I just kind of opened the journal and flipped to the page that I only have the body. I don't have the salutation or the signature, just the body.
Okay. So she takes the journal and she looks at it and she starts to say, it might not be too late for you to learn it. And
I'd love to if I could.
She looks, but her face just goes dead white as she reads it. Who is this letter to? When did you get this?
What does it say?
Was this to Sharon?
Yes.
Oh, God. Someone has her son.
What does it say?
Let me try and translate. It says, "We have your son." It says, if you want to see him alive again, you will take over as Rite Master at the cairn, and you will tell us everything you learn. And then at the bottom, it says, "They told me what to say. Please help me." And then it's signed with her son's name. Oh, wait, no, she doesn't see that part. It says, "They told me what to write. Please help me."
This makes things much more complicated.
It does. No one at the Sept really even knows that she has a son. I think March Lion knows. He would be, God, how old would he be now? Can't be more than 15.
Pretty sure March Lion's a little more than 15. Sorry.
Yeah, they don't really communicate. Maybe once every couple of years, they'll meet briefly for a visit. But he lived with our family in Hollister Hills. She left him there. Yeah, it would have been about 15 years ago. There was a guru in the city. They had a liaison, and she was too ashamed to tell most everyone at the Sept. She came to me, and I advised her as best I could. She decided to keep the child, but then to just give it back to our family rather than raise it herself. And then once she gave birth, she returned to the sept. And most people, as far as they know, she was just gone for 5 or 6 months, or 4 to 6 months. I can't remember how long. She went back to our family for a while. Once she gave birth, she returned to the sept. She didn't tell anyone about it. And honestly, she doesn't talk to me that much about it. I didn't know, I don't know his name. I do know that it was a boy, because by the time she told me about it, she already knew that it was going to be male. And I don't know who "we" is in this letter, but does she? I didn't know she had any enemies. I don't know who would do this, and why do they want her to be Right Master? That doesn't make any sense.
I have a couple of theories, and they're not good ones, and I'm not happy about any of the implications, but thank you. I think this is starting to answer some things.
Are you transmitting any of this to
Not
us
yet.
through the totem link? Okay.
Can I keep a copy of this, because I don't know? I'm translating on the fly, and some of these words I might need to look up.
Absolutely.
But that's the gist of it. And I hope you're going to help her.
We absolutely are.
She's a good woman. She really is. We both grew up in very difficult circumstances, and what happened with the bone gnawer didn't help either. She doesn't really trust anyone anymore, especially not people from outside our family.
We're going to solve it.
Thank you. If anybody could, you could. I'm so glad that I never thought I would say this, but I'm glad that they have you. I would rather have kept you to myself, but I think they need you more than I do. And you'll let me know. You'll text me or send me email or something. Let me know how this turns out, because I never met the boy myself, but he's family, and I hope he's all right.
Once it reaches a conclusion, I'll let you know everything.
Thank you.
There's a lot writing on this.
Yes, I'll try not to gnaw off my fingernails in the meantime, but I'll try to be as patient as you've learned to be.
Sometimes I wonder if I need to stop.
No, you keep that control. That's the best thing you ever learned from me is how to keep yourself together in tough situations. So that's what they'll need you for. The Guru are a passionate people, and
I've noticed.
And you will be the glue that keeps them together, I think. That's my hope, anyway. I'm very proud of you.
All right. I need to get going as fast as I can, so thank you for this.
I understand. Well, I don't feel like painting now, but I'll go jog around the block or something. I'm going to go change.
I give her a hug. Thank you.
And send me a copy of that when you can.
Absolutely. I head out and start driving back, and as I'm on the way back, a lot of time has passed between now and then for everyone else, but my message is, well, I've found at least one of our problems. And that's probably going to link up with everyone else's after they've had some of their stuff.
Well, I mean, that would be. I assume we're still on the road.
Yeah, they're still in the car.
They're still on the road? Okay, yeah.
What did you find out?
Tosses a ball, catches a ball.
We're probably like stopped at a red light somewhere.
Is this something
Whoever...
we shouldn't...
Someone Someone has Morning Cloud's child.
Didn't think Morning Cloud had any children.
You're not supposed to know that.
Who's the father? Is it kinfolk in the city or?
It's a guru in the city.
Oh, shite.
A Bonar.
That a bonar.
I feel like that gets said out loud. Shadow just looks over at Grudak.
Yeah, no,
it's like
that
a
was
bar
absolutely
doing a
out
mental
loud.
link thing, and then a bonar.
Absolutely, he's like, yes, that. What?
Grudak,
And-
drive.
And when I first arrived at the Sept, the first time she saw me, she could see I was Metis. She could see I was Bonar. She didn't like me. Now, maybe we know why.
And none of this leaves your mouths to anyone at the cairn, but they want her to become the right master so that she can tell them everything. Everything she learns.
Oh,
Our other leak is someone who wants to know the rights of the Uktana.
Alright, well, I can count on both hands and both feet the number of people back at the Sept that might be interested in something like that.
They had her son write it. I'm going to rip their throat out.
Okay.
Uh-oh, he's losing it.
is there anything?
See? Trust me. If someone has taken someone's child, you're going to need to fight with me for throat. But
You will have
we
to
need to
get
think
there
this through.
first.
It may be big, maybe bigger problem. I also want to say, how old is this child?
15.
A 15-year-old Metis.
May
Could
have
be-
changed, but may not have had first change yet.
Oh, 15-year-old Metis would have changed many years ago.
They changed earlier. I don't know if Thistle would know that in character or not, but obviously Grudak does.
Let's
Yeah, no,
assume
I
that
mean,
I don't. I
I
Yeah.
assume that
apparently
Thistle
didn't
is
read
learning
the
it.
page in the lore that was like, you know that very wide age range? It's different. For
I mean, Metis are
Whatever reason.
born in Krynos form, so they kind of have to change a little earlier.
okay.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
but
they still
I
have
assumed
change.
that was in character.
Yeah, that
Okay, never
now
mind.
Thistle's learned something new.
But is probably not Ethan then? It would have changed much longer ago.
Wait here, you're saying that you think... Sorry, you're going to have to run that by me again. You're saying that Emma's
No.
brother, the Black Spiral, you were thinking that might have been Morning Cloud's son.
Well, it could have been. It probably was Metis, but no. If he just had his first change and he's as old as he looked, probably not. This child would have changed many years ago, so probably not. But the one.
Also, just like, I don't know if I said this to the rest of you. She got that letter this morning.
Yes.
So, I'm not saying that this kid couldn't be Ethan, but
And the Black
if he's
Spirals.
Ethan, he's for a long time.
The Black Spirals moved into the VR park yesterday.
RV,
Nice.
lad. RV.
Yes, that one. Those letters.
The VR park would be way more interesting.
Those letters. I'm still working on acronyms. The Black Spirals moved into the RV park yesterday. We may have just found the reason. Did your mother
Perhaps.
tell you where her son was? If she
What was the
knew.
location that she had left her son?
Morning Cloud left. She went back to her family, in Hollister Hills, and had the baby there, and then left him.
Hollister Hills is the RV park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Her child was in the RV park in
So-
Hollister Hills.
Yeah.
And now we have even more reason to scout out this place.
All right. Let me know if you all think if all of you think I'm way off base here, but we've a traitor back at the cairn, trying to learn rights of the Uktena so they can, for whatever reason, suborn the cairn, whatever. Finish off what the Bane started 10 years ago. Anyway, they're not making much progress on that, but they've got contact with some black spirals. Somehow they find out that Morning Cloud's got a son parceled away down here with a bunch of the others who are fairly isolated. Once they get that information, they send their pet a black spiral pack down and have them capture the boyo so that they've got something to hold over Morning Cloud's head. They have the boy write the letter so that they can't trace that back to whoever it came from and get that delivered to Morning Cloud. Morning Cloud now is forced into attempting to become Right Master so she can learn all the secrets that they're going to need in order to consolidate their power, what have you. Does it sound way off base?
No, and I think I know
The only
why they want
Other-
to. Go ahead.
It's much less likely, but the other possibility is that someone who knows the sorry, what was the RV park called?
Hollister Hills.
Knows the writing for Hollister Hills, managed to forge a letter. Do we know how much contact Morning Cloud even had with her son?
Your guess is as good as mine, I think.
I believe my mother said that she
Yeah, your mother said once every few years.
she
Um,
met him every few years or so.
So it's possible they could have created a credible fake letter. Not as I acknowledge this isn't as likely, but someone else who can write the language. And honestly, given how few people can use that language,
You said the letter looked like it had been written in fear, but very slowly. It's hard to fake terror in handwriting.
it's hard. It's not impossible, especially given that a lot of werewolves have magic powers, and I sure as hell don't know all of them.
All right, but even if that were the case, probably fairly easy to disprove for somebody like Morning Cloud. Would be my guess.
No, this is definite. I don't think that's likely.
But it's still a
it would
valid-
need to be pretty damn credible.
But still a valid theory to consider.
Yeah.
Something for us to look at.
Either
absolutely.
way, yeah.
Sea
Either
and
way.
Thistle.
Hmm.
When you get back to the cairn, while we are out looking, there is one connection that we now know between our traitor and Morning Cloud. The knowledge of her child. There are going to be very few members of the cairn that know that information, and only one that knows it who should not. You can find that information. We'll find our traitor.
Here's the other problem. I think I know why they want to get to Morning Cloud.
Because she is going to become Right Master.
That's right. And the Right Master controls the grove of cedars, the 5 cedars at the heart of the Sept. I found, talking to others about the attacks that have come before, in the one that almost wiped out the Sept 10 years ago, the creature that was spawned there made for those cedars and was trying to claw
They're
at them.
coastal redwoods, actually, but
We'll just
Without
have them keep
speculating.
Sorry, I forget English word. Is coastal redwoods. It made for 5 coastal redwoods. It's at Heart of Sept. Was clawing at them as though to destroy them, or I think maybe to dig them up. I think there is something there. Maybe this is why also Uktena guard the secret so closely. Something there under the sept, or part of those trees, but the coastal redwoods are key to it. Something there or under them.
I would like for all of you to do an intelligence and rituals. We're digging into our knowledge of Guru lore here, and it's going to be difficulty, we'll say 7.
Is difficulty any different for me, or is it the same?
It'll be the same if it's.
Does my pop culture specialization apply?
No, it'd be 6 for Grudek, actually.
One success for Tag.
Actually, maybe. Oh, okay. We've done the rolls. So.
What was it? What were the attributes?
Intelligence and rituals.
Can I do academics? Because that's for Garo history.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Successes.
Yeah. You've got your specialty there.
I've only got 1 die in this, so it's not gonna go well.
And you said mine would be 6 or 5. What were you? 6. Okay.
I had 2 successes, but I also rolled 2 1s. So.
Oops.
5 successes.
Hot damn, son.
So Grudek,
difficulty was 7, you said?
As you're talking, you remember the what are they called? Camp. The camp of Octania called the Bane Tenders. Who do you know out of character who the Bane Tenders are?
I do.
Okay, then explain. You can feel free to explain in character.
It's been 20 years since I read that stuff. So
I just hate to tell you and then have you have to.
No. That's fine. Let me tell me if I get anything wrong in character.
Okay. I'll correct you.
Part of why I think this may be the case. See, have you heard of a camp within your tribe called the Bane Tenders?
I barely know enough of my tribe to know any of that, so no.
This is why I was so afraid of fast food when I first come to this country, because everything is called tenders. But no, it's nothing to do with chicken.
And as Grudek is talking, Thistle, this kind of rings a bell with you somehow or other, like you'd heard of this before too, but it never occurred to you before now.
Bane tenders are camp within the Uktena tribe that focus on either capturing Banes and trapping them in a location, or more often these days, keeping up tradition of capturing and imprisoning powerful Banes in places of power, to keep them under control, to keep them locked away, so where they cannot hurt Gaia, where they can be controlled, and where they can be restrained from joining the forces of the worm.
Yep, and the only thing I would add to his explanation, which he totally just did in his awesome accent, is that North America is littered with the buried corpses of extraordinarily powerful Banes, and the Uktena are the ones who put them there. And
a lot of those Native American burial mounds, they need to stay that way.
That's why you don't build on ancient Native American burial grounds. You foolish white people.
You've heard of Yucca Mountain?
They're actually malicious and evil corporations in this context.
Yeah.
But
his biggest success of the Worm and Pentacorp, or whatever, but
Pentax.
Sorry. Deadlands versus Werewolf. Sorry.
Yeah, Mount Rushmore. That's 4 Banes looking out at you people. Deal with it.
All right.
And our mission is more important than ever.
I don't. Hang on a sec here. Gurdek, so you're saying that we've been camping out nights, sitting on top of some fucking Leviathan evil spirit, something or other?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like is like Alcatraz, but for giant monster.
Really? Because it sounds a bit more
No,
like
it wasn't
Chernobyl for a
Alcatraz.
giant monster.
But it's also like Relay, like from Cthulhu.
From what?
Oh, so not a dead Bane, one that's having a wee bit of a snooze.
Yes,
Sealed
sort of-
evil in a
sort of
can. It's a
force.
thing. Look it up. You have internet right now.
What
The-
no phone?
Whatever it may or may not be, I think we're all in. Well, that's your problem. I can't help with that. No, sorry, I'm not supposed to offer that. Whatever. So whatever may or may not be specific to this land, I think we can all agree to assume that the secret Uktena rights that the Right Master may learn are probably not something we want the people associated with Black Spiral Dancers to learn.
Yes.
Yes,
I feel
my-
like that's pretty obvious.
I'd say that's I'd say that's fairly axiomatic at this point, yeah.
Or even if they don't learn them, if they are in control of the Right Master, who is the only one who knows the rights to keep this Bane, if it is Bane, but to keep this Bane in under control, then who's to say they don't need to access Sept? They don't need to learn rights. They just need to make her not do them. And it's
That-
all over.
May also be a direct concern.
Is big concern.
Then we must work swiftly.
For fuck's sake.
The three of us will continue on our purpose, but now we have a bigger goal. Need to find this child and learn where it is being kept.
Aye, because we're not going into just a simple recon mission, aye. We're going into a fucking hostage setch.
Yes.
We may need the rest of you to join us. Silver
And
Glare
maybe half
may
the
not
rest of the
make her
set?
bait.
So
More people will make our task harder. We do not have
Yeah.
the power to perform a rescue operation just yet.
Aye.
I need to have a conversation, a very private and secret conversation, and I need to find the exact words to give them to March Lion. So I'm going to have to be thinking on that for a while. So I'm going to be quiet for a bit.
is there anything you need me to do?
Keep an eye on Morning Cloud, see if anyone comes to talk to her in her tent.
Meanwhile, Siobhan says, "Are you going to throw the ball back or not?"
She's do a pretty good job to this point. Yeah.
I can tell you're getting tired, she says. We can stop for a while if you want. Nobody's got the stamina I do for this. It's just a fact.
You know, why don't I show you some of those more of those new comic books and toys I brought?
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
If I can pry them out of Emma's hands.
You let Emma keep the ones she wants to keep.
Okay.
You can keep the ones you like. I have a few that I think you might like.
Okay.
Well then. Let us go to the hunt.
And I think
Aye.
Grudek will
It's a solid plan.
we'll start telling stories about Banes that were captured and how they were fought and imprisoned, the ones that he knows at least by the Bane tenders.
Cool.
Can I roll for that?
Seems
to give us
very
a
much
Yeah.
non-reassured by this activity.
Yeah, do charisma and performance.
So you're telling me this entire continent is full of buried giant
Difficulty
monsters?
See, I feel the need
Yep.
to
What
apol-
is so weird about that? We live in a world of magic and fairies and vampires and werewolves.
See, I feel the need to apologize for the condition your car will be in when we get back to you.
I've barely shat anywhere.
I may have put my fingers through the ceiling.
It's all right.
I
I'm
got
going to have to apologize for the condition that some poor guard is going to find a body outside of that RV park in a few days.
Oh, don't worry. They won't find enough pieces.
So meanwhile, Grudek has gotten 6 successes on this telling you stories about the Octana Bane Tenders role, which means that not only do you now know literally everything he knows about the Octana Bane Tenders, which is probably more than anyone save the Octana Bane Tenders know, but also you're going to have nightmares for like a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
just fuel.
Especially because he's literally in your head right now, so he can like send you pictures, most of which he's probably made up, but he's really good at this.
No.
So now you've got images in your mind.
What Grudek is doing right now is priming the Rage Beast.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, holy shit, we're all gonna die. It's like, listen to the story of your forefathers who fought and these Banes and brought them down and tied them into the bones of the earth. They have conquered, and
probably
we can
is
too.
a slight element of holy shit, we're all gonna die.
This
Just
one is
because-
like probably taking this the best because
On the
Z
receiver.
kind of default assumes that all of the magic tropes are currently in operation at all times. Because I turned into a werewolf, screw you. I'm just gonna assume that all of the magic is real until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
This part, it is all real.
So, though Grudek's stories are very inspiring of, the brave Octana who wrestled these things into submission and we can do this, we are Guru or whatever, you're probably all at least getting the awareness of this is not a thing that the 5 of us are going to take on without an army.
I have a question. And I have a mechanical question.
Okay.
Can I just sort of, while we're writing, mentally, not to them, call on my ancestors and receive any information that they might have about how to deal with a Bane?
How that works mechanically is that you get points and things you might not already have. Like you can borrow their dice pool essentially. So you could do like an intelligence and rituals roll using someone else's intelligence and rituals that isn't yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd have to grab the book to see exactly how that works.
I think I have to roll my ancestors and I get a number of extra dice.
The number of successes is how many
Number of
extra
successes.
dice you get in your but I'm just going to double check to make absolutely sure.
So I'm going to, while driving, just sort of mentally, I'm going to call on probably Fenris Among Us and see what he has to say about killing Banes.
Okay, so
This quality of thing.
Oh god, dishes.
so let's see.
Difficulty 8 or 10 if you're trying to connect to a specific ancestor.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to connect to anyone specific because difficulty 10 is basically you're as likely to botch as you are to succeed. So I would just roll it. Where did you find the difficulty?
136.
I'm on 136, but I'm not seeing.
Second paragraph of the ancestors section.
At the very bottom of 136.
Once per game session is where it starts.
So,
Okay, so-
difficulty 8, roll your ancestor's background and see how many successes you get.
Diff 8. Diff 8 ancestors roll. 0 successes. They're not talkative today.
Okay. Give me an
Call on
excuse
my
to get out my big
ancestors.
old book, though.
Call on
Answer
my
unclear.
ancestors.
Ask again later.
It's like like just mental version of the 8 ball.
Magic 8
That's
ball.
you. Yeah. God damn.
Apply hazy. Try.
I just sort of like am as Grudek's talking, just making progressively larger dents in the door with my hand.
C is never gonna let y'all borrow
God.
the car again.
Guys at the body shop are gonna love us.
What happened in here?
Somebody grabbed and squeezed real hard.
The car is probably swerving every time Grudek makes a particularly emphatic point.
Like Tig from the background going, drive!
Yes, that's exactly what they said. Drive it back.
Okay, so what is Thistle doing while they drive the other hour to the RV park?
Well, I'm gonna check in on Emma. I'm gonna probably show Siobhan to some Supergirl comics, Batgirl, something like that.
Okay.
Um,
And the novelty of that allows her to get pretty absorbed.
yeah, basically, hey, you've been pretty media isolated growing up in this woods cult.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking fix that as much as your mother will let me, and I'm not gonna tell her.
Yep. And Siobhan seems to have a little bit of that kind of hyper-focus ADD thing.
Yeah.
So like once you hand her something that she's interested in, it's like you might as well not even be there anymore. She's like into these
Easy
comics
enough.
now. Yeah. She's handled.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on things, and so as a part of my sorry, I need to pull it up. Pack mentality thing.
Mhm.
I also get a -1 on difficulty involving group strategies.
Okay.
So, especially if the stuff from Grudek is coming in psychically, can I make any sort of strategic roll for how one might approach the the new Right Master's is a little teensy bit compromised sort of
Yeah.
thing?
The stat I've been using for this, because as it is, it's a little weirdly just a duplicate of charisma, the way they have leadership described in the book. So I've been using leadership to represent basically any kind of executive level strategizing, decision making.
So would that be wits and leadership potentially?
Yeah, that would be exactly what it is. And I would say difficulty, and I don't need to. You're adding to the difficulty yourself with your flaw, right? So I give you
no. So what I was saying is that I actually that specific flaw when I am trying to make strategic calls for a group, I get a -1 to my difficulty.
Oh, okay.
Not something for yourself, anything I want to do right now, but sort of through this conversation with the wider group and knowing that C wants to C, who is the pack leader, has expressed a desire to have a conversation around this topic.
Okay, so since
I'll put it in
separated,
chat.
Yeah, if you're since you're separated from your pack, what are the disadvantages that causes in your how does that affect your decision making since you're alone at the moment? Let's see.
So
when you're with
any
at least
task,
one,
which the GM may decide is relevant here, is +2, and then -1 for group activities and strategies. So I'd potentially be either at a +1 or a -1, depending on whether or not you rule that this is something that is affected by my proximity.
Is this situation stressing Thistle out, or is he relatively calm at the moment?
I mean, I feel like there's something stressful about wanting to do the thing right, but this
it's
is
not like a freeze panic.
Because Thistle has no thought whether or not this is the best thing. Thistle personally has no thought that Z should be acting alone right now on this.
Okay. So Z probably doesn't need to do the willpower roll. But it would be an increased difficulty if Z is going to try to make an important decision as like, I, as the only person here in the sept right now, what should I do to help the situation?
That's fine if that's the role you want me to make. The role I was trying to make was not about I as the person who's in the sept right now, but going forward, when C gets back, when the rest of them get back,
Okay.
what's a good way to be moving?
Okay. So it would probably work out about the same, because if you're trying to make plans ahead of time without them there with you, it'll be just as difficult as if you're.
Okay, that's fine.
So yeah, I would say it's like wits and leadership, and then it would be difficulty 8, because it would normally
Right.
be like a 6, but we're gonna.
Okay, so do I get the -1 for making a group?
No, because it says
Okay.
when you are with at least one member of your pack, you have -1, and right now they are all gone. So
That's fine. I have plenty of dots in that. 2 successes.
Hey.
Heyo.
okay, so so you're thinking that as far as how to best apply your particular talents and gifts, that once everybody gets back, that because you're generally an empathetic and also
Mhm.
attractive and pleasant person, that under normal circumstances you might not be able to break through to Morning Cloud, but given that she is already probably scared and vulnerable, that this might be a moment when you can actually
Yeah.
reach her and say, hey, look, you can trust me. So that's sort of, as you're mulling this over, like, what
Yeah.
is part in that? That's probably what would occur to you,
Right.
to use your gifts for getting through to people, and maybe you can.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Tig right now is very glad that he went with his gut reaction for what note to leave in her tent rather than his second one, which was, hey, I have more questions. Could we talk again at a later date?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't have gone. Okay, so now the possibly slightly anticlimactic thing is that when you guys finally make it down to the RV park, the van is not in the parking lot.
We need to locate that van.
It looks like they snatched the wee beggar and then ran off to wherever their hidey hole is, which
We know where that
I think we
is.
already know where that's going to be.
Over the telepathic link back to C and Thistle. The van is gone. They have likely taken the child back to their den.
Or somewhere else that they think is fairly secure.
There's 2 possible locations: Silicon Valley or underneath the apartment complex.
You mean
that we
Death
know
Valley?
of. Sorry, Death Valley.
Silicon Valley is Glasswalkers.
Yeah. Silicon Valley Glasswalkers.
I knew it.
Death Valley.
How far?
Well,
Walkers.
How far are we from that apartment complex at this place?
You mean the Mills Hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're at the RV park, you're like 3 hours away from it, because it's basically central San Francisco.
Okay, so
Or no, wait, no, 2 hours away. Sorry, because it's like an hour from
Triangles.
San Francisco, and then a couple hours to the RV park. So
my instinct would be for us to go back to the hotel and see if the van is there now.
we are here. I know we have concerns about C's kinfolk, but if the child was taken from them, they may have been subject of an attack. They may be in need of assistance. I think we should at least
Have a wee look around.
yes, maybe not enter in, but just in case.
We'll tie a note to a rock and throw it over the fence.
Worst case scenario, we have to come back and leave as wow. That's a hard word to say in this accent. Scenario. It's a me scenario. Worst case scenario, we have to come back and leave very fast. Best case scenario, they are looking for vengeance and will join our fight against the Black Spirals.
I agree with this assessment. Let us park and look around.
Also, if a lifetime of studying stories has taught me anything, it is much more likely that final confrontation against black spirals will be in a location we have already visited than in one we have not.
All right.
And let us
That's
go.
fair. I'm a little more worried about our first conflict with him rather than the last one at this point, though.
With all luck, they will be the same.
Now you're just being bloody optimistic for no goddamn reason.
I
Well-
said with luck.
So
I did
are
not
you
say
guys-
likely.
he laughs and gets out of the car to go there.
Yeah, I'm gonna
also.
It's
put
other
it in.
vehicle
So
to
you're
go there.
parking in the RV
Yep.
park, and you're going to get out and head toward the.
Basically, I think the idea is that we're going to feel around the place and see if, maybe there's a giant fire in the middle of the RV park where some
Yeah.
poor bastards got attacked by black spirals.
Grudek is very pointedly going to back the car in, aim towards the exit.
Are you
Uh,
letting the other guys know where you're going and what you're doing?
Oh yeah.
C roll intelligence and leadership difficulty 6.
Thistle's just gonna very, very mildly. I've already expressed my thoughts on this.
Grudek will say again, I'm in no way suggesting we
Yeah,
barge
Jesus.
into the middle, but we could at least go around the perimeter and look from the outside.
Yeah.
Okay. See, you do recall that you only got into trouble when you actually crossed the fence. And you also recall exactly where the breach in the fence was that you crossed, if you want to give them that location. But also you remember that you jumped over the fence and you actually got a good ways in before you were accosted and grabbed.
Yeah. As I'm driving, I just send. Be careful if you're intending to go anywhere in the fence, but you should be able to get a few paces before they'll spot you. There's a breach around 10 minutes of a walk away from the RV park. Just be careful and don't go in unless you need to.
So
And you can probably actually send them to a mental image of what you remember of where that
Yeah.
breach in the fence was, so they can find it pretty easily.
So I am going to spend a gnosis point for inspiration as we get out of the car, and as I'm going to is it daylight, almost dusk, or what are we sort of getting at right now?
Let's see, you left it.
It's about 3 o'clock.
3 p.m.
So
3
yeah,
p.m.
it's
So there's still
daylight.
plenty of
Yeah,
light.
yeah. I'm just gonna spend a point of gnosis for inspiration to give both Grudek and Tig a temporary point of willpower. If they need it, as I get out, and I'm sniffing because I do that. But basically, I'm sort of taking into, okay, this is my territory. This is my territory now. Follow my lead mode.
I wish you guys could see what I'm Google searching right now.
And I'm just gonna sort of have us quietly and over the telepathic link directing us to fan out as we move through the area, not to go through the fence, and sort of coordinating our scouting just so that we can get the best sort of level of information that we possibly can.
Okay.
Going around.
Tag wants to go full stealth.
I'm gonna just take a big old sniff before we go any farther.
Worm
Yes, please.
sniffage.
Sniffing for
please.
the worm.
Okay.
I love that. I love that I rolled how stupid is this plan, and then Grudek immediately rolls, this plan is fantastic, don't worry.
You don't sense any worm presence currently.
Okay.
In fact, there's lingering traces, just the very faintest in the parking lot, as though, clearly the black spirals had been hanging out there. But as you get, that's the last place they were before they left. So as you get farther from the parking lot, you lose it completely. So you think the only worm taint that you at all pick up is just this lingering signature of their fairly recent presence. But it's very, very stale as it is.
Okay. He'll pass that along to everybody.
Is stealth at standard difficulty.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
It's it's like golden hour. There's sunlight, but there's also a lot of. This is a very woodsy area, so there's lots of things to duck behind. And
4 successes.
I will also be stealthing as
I
we
am
scout around.
sneaky AF.
Oh, should we change form, do you think?
No,
I didn't.
it is still daytime.
That's dexterity plus stealth.
yeah, dexterity and stealth.
Oh boy. All
Um,
right. I'm gonna hang back. What's the difficulty again?
you do have an extra point of willpower if you want to spend it for an auto success.
Yeah, I probably will. What's the difficulty?
6.
Standard difficulty is 6.
Okay.
Because it's a fairly sparsely populated.
Sure.
Well, as you get away from the parking lot, there's not a whole lot of eyes, and also there's lots of trees. So it's
with my stealth roll, would my lightning reflexes apply?
not in this case, no.
Okay.
Because it's not about quickness, really.
Yeah, I'm glad I spent the auto success.
It would have been a botch. He trips and the paramedics come over. Are you all right? Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't have been a botch,
Yeah.
just a failure.
I fail, but I do not botch, and that's fine.
Okay.
That's actually fine because I'm more concerned with looking and seeing what I can see and smell than I am about hiding because I'm staying outside the fence. And
So you all crunch through the leaves, and your approach is not exactly stealthy, and then you follow along that where C showed you the fence was, and as it winds around toward kind of where he guided you, you definitely get farther away from people. You get to a much more woodsy, secluded sort of area. You are pretty sure that if you shifted into breed form at this point, that you would not be spotted. Laying that out there in case you wanted to use your sense of smell or whatever to.
yeah, I will just quietly to the others. As we're further away, I will go into my natural form. It may be easier for us to find information if we all do, but I am not saying it's required.
No, I agree.
And I will shift into my wolf form because I don't have to roll for that.
Can I?
Well, you're both darling fellas, but you're kind of noisy.
Yeah,
So it might not be a bad idea.
I do want to point out, I feel like nobody gave Tig credit for the 4 successes he got on his stealth roll.
Like all crunched through the leaves.
We rolled
Yeah,
the
poor
same
Shadow's
number of dice.
Heavy.
Can I roll perception just to see if there's anyone around already looking at us?
Yeah, perception and alertness difficulty 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm shifting into wolf form and then also looking and smelling.
Okay, perception and alertness difficulty 6 for you as well, and you get to use your keen smell thing or whatever.
And I do I get my -2 difficulty as well for being in beast form now?
Yep.
So,
Michelle,
I got
Yeah.
3.
given Tig's past experience and education at Tri-Spirals, do you think he would be aware of the concept that, with the rare exception of one specific type of cairn, anytime a werewolf crosses the boundary, he'll know it?
I'm not actually informed on that aspect.
Okay,
so-
basically, so like a cairn is set, it's in a specific location, and it has the bond, which is basically how big the thing is, and
Mhm.
any werewolf that crosses that definitely knows right away.
Okay.
Unless it's a
Okay.
cairn of stealth specifically.
Okay. So yeah, I'll Tig would know about that because
Okay.
he grew
All right, yeah.
well. He's spent a few months at a cairn. And also you guys have also all spent a few months at a cairn, so you would know about that. And you're not
So, yeah.
getting any cairn vibes at this point.
Okay, good.
Um, Shadow, okay, Grudek, you're looking to see if there's nobody around. Like by the time you turn the curve to try to find this fence, you were getting deep into like Booney's territory. There's no other people because this isn't near the actual like campsites or anything. This is kind of off the beaten path. There's nobody, so you feel pretty secure in that.
Okay.
Tig, you don't notice anything too unusual. You can start to see the fence at this point. Shadow, you smell blood.
Mm-hmm. I over the mental link, and with a bit of a growl, stop. To both of them.
Grudek's gonna, I think, probably already in the process of hunching down. I'm gonna shift automatically into Krynos, and then from Krynos, I'm gonna try to shift into Lupus.
And I'm trying to find the information I need for this, because it's relevant.
Got it.
Does anybody know where the howls are in the book?
Well, I don't know where they are in the book, but I have them all written down.
I'm trying to find in... Because it's a specific howl I'm looking for.
Oh, no, wait, you weren't starting in Krynos form, were you? So I guess, Grudek, you make it to...
He was going to shift to his breed form, which is Krynos, and then attempt
Page
to shift
58,
again.
I think.
You ended up in Hispo, I think.
No.
Oh wait, no, you shifted to Krynos. Okay, no, you made it.
Yeah. So, and then I jumped over. So I'm okay. Anthem of War, Call for Succor, Call to Hunt, Chant of Challenge, Curse of Ignominy, Cry of Elation, Dirge for the Fallen, Howl of Introduction, Snarl of Precedence. Or well, that's
so
not
yeah.
it.
I'm going to listen. I want to listen and see if I can hear the Dirge for the Fallen or any other howls going on from inside the cairn.
You hear, actually roll, roll perception alertness again, since you're specifically listening for something different, difficulty. I'm going to say 7 this time. And Tig, what are your two successes mean? I always forget how curiosity flaw works.
Oh, basically, as long as I get a success, I'm not immediately like, oh, something that I have to go investigate. So yeah,
okay.
I just figured that was.
You hear from beyond the fence.
Oh, Jesus!
Absolutely nothing.
I'm going to approach the fence and the hole in the fence, and then from there, I'm just going to let out a howl of introduction. And see if there's a response.
Grudek
think maybe
gets
you should
stung
let
in
me
the
do
ear
that,
by a
or-
bee.
Do you know them? Because I know I know them all.
What? I have a list. I have the list right here.
I know, but I mean, does Shadow know them in character? Because as a Galliard,
I would think so, because he's been in Guru culture for a couple of years now.
Yeah. At the
So
very least,
I would
at the
assume
very
he'd
least, he
know
would
it.
know
The
his
howl
own.
of introduction is one of the first things they teach people, especially who are traveling from cairn to cairn, which he was. So I'm going to assume. that he knows that.
being a lupus, I would imagine that he would know the howls a bit better than most other new werewolves. Because
So,
howls.
for those
Grudek,
keeping
did
track at home, I got a
did you
negative
watch?
3 on my listening. Yeah, I
Was
got
that
a
a bu-
negative 3 on my listening.
Did
Triple
you
That was a
get
botch.
and no successes at all? Oh no, wait, no, it was difficulty 6. So you got no, it was difficulty 7. So yeah, you botched that, which
Triple
means
botch.
It's a triple botch.
Grudek-
Oh, it's it's
Grudek,
it's a super
you
botch.
hear from the opposite direction behind you, you hear the cry of a whippoorwill. You're utterly just hallucinating from this point from stress. You hear the whippoorwill call, which is the black spiral
Shit, son.
Okay.
totem, and also they use the call when hunting. You hear a faint whippoorwill cry from off behind you, while Shadow hears
Yeah, and I
so
do-
much nothing that it's eerie AF. And there's no response to your howl of introduction. And also, when you get close to the fence,
Mhm.
you smell so many corpses.
We need to
And
go
that's
in
where we're
now.
going to
Yeah.
stop tonight.
All right. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.